Okay, well, without further ado, I will call the study session to order. And the first item on our agenda is the oath of office for Brian Anderson, Luis De Gravina, Kyle Cole, and Jenna Lyon. And Councilmember September, please join Councilmember September down below the dais. Thank you. That's Councilmember Anderson, soon to be mayor. Thank you.
And I can't raise my arm. That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and defend them against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of the office of a Town of Gilbert Planning Commission member in Gilbert, Arizona, according to the best of my ability. So help me God. Congratulations. I'm going to give you each this oath of office to just sign it and give it to the staff at the end of the meeting. Okay. Brian, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Louis and Jenna. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Can't hold my arm up if I'm holding the microphone.
Okay, very well. Welcome aboard. And number 2 on the agenda is to elect a chair and a vice chair. So I'll open it up to any discussion or nominations from the commission.
Chair, if I may,
Yep.
I would nominate that you continue into your second term as the chair of the Planning Commission for the coming term.
Okay. Does that require a second? Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Do we want to do a vice chair as one, or do you want to do these separately? Separately? Okay. Any discussion on me remaining as the chair? As you can see, the iron hammer that I carry.
I have
keeps
things
many
to
people-
say, but
Yeah, right. Not the correct forum. Well, good, then my work here is done as intended. Okay, well, let's cast a vote then for Noah Munt remaining as chair. Oh, I think we have one chair missing, and Luis is. But I just let the record, it shows that Lewis's vote didn't go through and Kyle Cole's did, so I think it's just where his chair was. No, it's the person, he's not here, and I think it was just saying you are Kyle. But I just wanted the record to reflect he is in fact not Kyle. Okay. Very good. Okay, now we need to move on to a vice chair, which is a very prestigious position, I'd like to point out. And I just wanted to confirm with legal, is a nomination and approval of an individual in absentia in any way not allowed?
I don't believe that the bylaws prohibit it. I think any member sitting can be nominated.
Okay.
Chair,
Yeah.
I would like to nominate Bill Fay, Mr. William Fay.
Okay, we have a vote for Commissioner Fay for the vice chair. Is there a second?
I will second that as well.
Commissioner Davis with the second. Any discussion on the matter?
I will just look forward to seeing him next time.
I will too. I will very much look forward to that. Okay.
Does he have to accept it?
He has no choice. We're a governing body and we're voting. It's the way it works. Okay, please cast your vote. Unanimous approval, Vice Chair Fay. Very nice. Okay, moving on, I will now actually call the work session. Call to order the work session. I must have not have done that originally inappropriately. So, item number 3 is the first item we'll hear, and that is DR 24-12, Shops at Pecos and Power, and Mr. Keith Newman.
Chair Munt, members of the commission, good evening. So as you just stated, my study session item tonight is for the Shops at Pecos and Power. The site, as you can see on the screen in front of you, is located at the southwest corner of Power and Pecos Roads. And it is a vacant site today. And it is surrounded, right to the south of it is an existing Superstar car wash. And then there is I don't know, I think it's a learning center or some type of preschool, Creme de la Creme learning school center, just to the south of it. So the request for you tonight is for a design review case for the applicant to develop a 6,500 square foot commercial building and to establish a master site plan. So I will go over the details here now. So the actual site where the 6,500 square foot commercial type building is going is that Shops B building that you can see on the site plan in the top left-hand corner. So that is an 1 acre project, 1 acre site. That is phase 1 of a 2-phase development. And you can see all of the rest of the site is grayed out with several shops or some commercial buildings. You have Pad A, Pad B, looks like it's a convenience food type of restaurant. You have Pad E, looks like some type of lube shop, and then you have Shop C, which it looks like more like an inline type retail / shops building. And we actually have knowledge that Shops B, I know I said commercial building, but it's actually a dentist office in one side of the building, in a majority of it, and then a suite to the far east side will be, I don't know exactly what that is yet right now, but I thought I heard it's medical, but I'm not 100% for sure. So the whole site, just this site, the Shops B, we're going to show you building elevations for that, and the rest of the building elevations and the final site design for the rest of the development, the rest of the master site plan will come in as individual design review cases in the future. But as far as the Shops B site, that has 30 parking spaces, and there's actually 110 parking spaces in the whole entire master plan. And you can see how this site relates to the rest of the site around it. There's circulation. You have one entrance off of Pecos Road. There's another two future entrances that were going to be constructed. A second one off of Pecos Road, the one furthest to, oh, my PowerPoint went away, there it is. The one furthest to the east will be constructed later. As of right now, that will be a temporary fire access road. or slash entrance that will have DG, compacted DG with a gate. And that will be constructed during phase 2, and that is acceptable to our fire department. And then the entrance off of Pecos, off of Power is kind of half constructed right now. Or actually, I think it's all the way constructed, excuse me. But it kind of goes right into the car wash. And then the remainder of it, the throat of that entrance will be constructed later. You can kind of see how it tapers down to the car wash. The remainder of that will be constructed during phase 2. The rest of the taper or the rest of the entrance, the throat of the entrance. So as far as the landscaping is concerned, right now there is landscaping. They're proposing it. This is only showing it for the Pad B site or the Shops B site, and you can see it along the perimeter of the site, along the west boundary and the north boundary. And they have 31% open space just on that site. We are working with the applicant to show us a larger landscape plan that shows the entire master plan so that we can see the landscaping along the perimeter of the project, along Pecos Road and Power Road, and along the southern boundary. And we're still working with the applicant on providing that level of landscape plan. The elevations, here's the building elevations. It's approximately 19 feet tall at the roof line. At the very tippy top of the parapet walls, it's about, I'd say about 30 feet. But we measure height to the roof line, the plate line of the building. So it complies with the code. It's generally a flat roof building with a pitched tower over the main entry, made of EFIS materials and some metal paneling type of accent materials, and then masonry veneer. So a pretty typical building with earth tone colors. And all the rest of the buildings will eventually, when they come in the future, will complement this, and this is kind of setting the tone. And here's some more of the elevations. You can see the stone and the colors and so forth. So basically tonight, we just wanted your general input. I know I don't have that in the bullet. I believe it's in the staff report. But also, the applicant would like to move forward with CDs at risk. So that's what they would want your input on tonight. We have completed 2 reviews. Actually, I think we just completed our 3rd review. We've given them some very minor comments. We're still working on that. But they would like your authorization to move forward with CDs at risk. So that concludes my presentation. And if you have any questions for me, I would be happy to answer them. And that is it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Keith. Questions or comments for Keith regarding this item? Commissioner Davis.
Thank you, Chair. I have a couple of comments. One just minor thing is I didn't notice that there's pedestrian, I know it's future phases, but pedestrian connectivity between the car wash and Shop C. So people, for people to be able to connect between those two. My other comment is actually about the future site plan too. I was disappointed to see that the corner pad is going to be in like a lube shop where that's, viewing bay doors right at an arterial intersection like that. I think it'd be nicer to see even the fast food at that corner and getting a building up closer to that corner versus looking at that parking and those people waiting to go through those bays. I don't think that's a very attractive look for that corner. So I was disappointed in that. So I'd like the applicant to maybe think about that moving forward with that next phase. As far as the proposed plans that they're going forward with right now, I don't think I have much more on that right now. So.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. Anyone else? Commissioner Anderson, please.
Thank you for the presentation. Only question or comment I have is we're looking at all of phase 2 where the Shops B is for a site plan? Or are we just concentrated on Shops B's site plan for this application?
Chair Munt, Commissioner Anderson. So the main concentration for this application is the Shops B in that northwest corner.
Okay.
But we are trying to establish a master site plan as well. So we will accept your comments and feedback on the rest of the master site plan design. But primarily we're focusing on Shops B.
Okay. I don't have any comments on Shop B, but to give you a comment on the rest of the site, the only
Yeah.
thing that's kind of sticking out to me is there's a little trash enclosure adjacent to Power Road. It'd be nice if they can find another location for that and just get it off that main road. That was really about it. And then just for a question for when you guys come back before us, when trash pickup does happen, is it going to be one service for the entire site, or is each trash enclosure gets individually served? And where I'm going with that is, there's not a really good truck route through the site if it's one truck picking up all 3 stops. Like, they might come off of Pecos, grab Shops B, get around the churn, get the one on Pat C that's facing Pecos, and then if they have to go to Power Road, the one adjacent to Power Road, it's just, I'm not sure how they make a smooth transition to that. So that's only if it's one truck that's picking up all 3 stops at once, but if they're individually, then there's no problem. And- Go ahead.
Yeah, Chair Munt, Commissioner Anderson, I don't have an answer for you on that as far as if it will be one service picking it up or multiple services. That is something we can definitely find more information on and include that or provide that information to you guys at the final hearing, whenever that may be. And we'll also discuss that trash enclosure orientation with the applicant as well.
Okay, thank you. And then regarding architecture on Shops B, I don't have any comments on that. I think it's
Okay.
fine. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Anderson. Anybody else? Commissioner Simon, please.
Thank you. Thanks for the presentation, Keith. My question really is around what Commissioner Anderson asked, and that was if we're looking at the entire site plan versus just that Shops B. I was confused there. I actually thought we were looking at just the Shops B, and would have felt a lot better if we're looking at the entire site plan as a whole and really trying to lock that in. I don't like the thought of that south, we'll call it Shop C there. You're just leaving a void, and I feel like if we're just looking at Shops B as far as that and not the entire site plan, I would have issue with this. I agree with Commissioner Anderson with regards to the waste pickup and where it's located. You've got a major arterial on both Power and Pecos, and to put refuse right there, I understand it's a straight shot in, but it just seems a little wonky the way that it's set up. With regards to the overall look and feel of the building, I have absolutely no issue with that. It's just more wanting to know if we're looking at the entire site plan and locking those buildings in. So,
Chair Munt, Commissioner Simon, like I stated a few minutes ago, yes, we are reviewing Shops B in more detail at this time. But this is a master site plan that we are trying to establish with Shops B. So yes, we would welcome any comments or feedback on the design of the rest of the site, which is Phase 2. So yes, we are focusing on that design as well. Not in as much detail. Those details, the finite details, will come as each case is submitted, or each project or tenant submits their design review case. We'll get finite details on landscaping and grading and or the building designs and things like that. But yes, we are concerned with we want you to be concerned with the overall design of the master plan in addition to Shops B, if that helps.
it does, and I appreciate it. So I would echo then, Commissioner Davis, with regards to that hard corner on Pecos and Power. I think there could be better use of the way that that's all situated there. I just feel like you're leaving an empty space on that corner, which could be a pretty powerful unit. So that's all.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Simon. Anyone else? Commissioner DeGravina?
Excuse me, my concerns are the same. What is the complete build-out going to look like for the entire site? And hopefully, the build-out will include buildings and businesses that will be complementary. So that'd be my only concern, that they kind of all fit and flow together. It's similar to what Commissioner Simon and Davis has mentioned. So that's my concern.
Okay, thank you. Chair Munt, Commissioner DeGravina, yes, we share some of the same concerns as well. And that's why we're reviewing this as a master site plan, so we can make sure everything works together But as far as the uses on those pad sites at this time, they're essentially conceptual. We don't know if they're going to stay designed the way they are. If they are proposing to change or not substantially comply with this current master plan, they will have to amend the master site plan, and each one, and that will be reviewed by town staff. Now, since it is a master site plan, if the buildings are smaller than 5,000 square feet, that review would just be at a staff level. But they will be required to amend the master site plan, and it will be a design review case that we will review and to make sure that the uses still complement not only Shops B, but the rest of the uses within the center. So that is something that we will be looking at as each design review case comes in, to make sure there is that compatibility and that there's appropriate circulation, not only from a vehicular standpoint, but from a pedestrian standpoint. The landscaping is all coordinated. The design of the buildings are coordinated. So that's something that we'll continue to develop as Phase 2 comes on board. And I would imagine, right now it's saying that Phase 2 will all be developed at one time. So those design review cases, we will be able to provide more comments and feedback on the finite design of them, or the more detailed design as we move forward.
Thank you, that's a good explanation.
Very good. Thank you, Keith.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Oh, going back to Commissioner Davis, all right.
Sorry, I just wanted to weigh it again. That Shop C is really hidden back there and doesn't seem very viable with how behind the car wash and behind Shops B, like visibility back to it is going to be poor. Feels like it would make more sense to have, I mean, we'll leave it to the applicant to look at it, but something like that out at the corner seems more viable and more attractive for that arterial corner than tucking it back into that. So I'm sure the applicant will be looking at what uses are allowed and what's appropriate there. But again, I feel really strongly that that corner needs to be looked at. So thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Simon.
Yeah, we'll go back.
Please.
Ring around the room. One question. You had asked about CDs at risk. Question is, will this come back before us? Obviously, this is a study session, but you'll go back to the applicant, you'll do some adjustments potentially, and bring it back to us, or is this something that staff would have the ability to approve on staff level?
Chair Simon, used to be the chair. Chair Munt, Commissioner Simon, if you authorize them to move forward with CDs at risk for the Shops B building, you won't see this come back to you. The rest of the design review cases for the other pads, except for actually Shop C will come back because it's larger than 5,000 square feet, but the other pad sites would be reviewed and approved administratively, since it's a master site plan.
So I guess from my perspective, if I had a better total site plan, I'd feel more comfortable going ahead with CDs at risk on that Shops B. I'm not saying I don't agree with it, but that's a little bit tough for me because I'd like to see the entire layout. So I'm kind of hung up there. So.
Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner Simon. Okay, anything else? All right, Keith, do you feel like you've gotten enough direction from us?
Chair Munt, Commissioner Simon, so I'm a little, are you okay? I just want to know if you're supportive of CDs at risk for Shops B. I'm a little unclear on that, because we are presenting to you the design of, a conceptual design of the whole entire master plan. So I know there are some concerns with the corner building and the Shop C building towards the back. If that's something we need to have the applicant take a second look at and maybe bring those back to you in a certain shape or form, I don't think staff would be opposed to that. I don't know what the applicant's thoughts are on that aspect of it, but would you be okay with them moving forward with Shops B, given if they address your comments or your feedback on pads, the one at the corner and Shops C?
I guess since I brought that up, I'll comment on it. So I don't want to sway the rest of the commission. I just have a little bit of anxiety with regards to allowing CDs at risk on a singular building, on an entire pad or a development, that we don't really know exactly what the rest of that development's going to look like. Not to say that I'm opposed to it. That's, so I kind of feel like if that's the way this needs to move forward, but I do feel like sometimes we throw CDs at risk around like it's a thrift shop. So, you know, and I don't want to stop or stand in the way of a development, but I also don't want to see a piece of development and then we have a large scab of land that will never be completely developed because you've got a piece of property that's tucked in behind a car wash and an office building that really has no use. So that's where my anxiety is on this. Okay. So I guess I am probably saying I don't know that I agree with the
Okay.
CDs at risk, I guess is where I'm at on that, so.
Okay.
Without seeing the rest of the development as laid out with some of those things answered. I mean, I really don't like, to Commissioner Anderson's point, and I'm sorry to belabor this, but I don't like having the two refuse on Pecos and Power. I'd like to see those someplace else. I'd like to see that corner more of a statement corner if possible, so I'll leave it at that.
Commissioner Anderson had something to add, please.
So my whole 2 cents, and this goes way back when you guys started doing this whole CD at risk stuff, it's the applicant's risk to submit CDs at risk. Once CDs are completed, it doesn't come before us. It goes to a whole nother department, and they review it and go forward. Now, this type of stuff, I mean, the CDs at risk is, I'm assuming the CD packet is going to be for Shops B, the building itself. They'll submit a site and landscape plan for that parcel that is on. They're not going to submit an entire CD packet for the entire site. I've done this before in the past, is for these types of projects. You're focused in on right here. They might do a master grading plan for the entire site, but they're not going to be installing all the utilities right away. They're going to be focused on this little Shops B thing. So just from my experience of, doing construction documents for these, these types of projects and how they're built out over time, like, I have no problem with it, but again, it's the applicant's decision if they want to go at risk with CDs. It's their risk. We don't have, my opinion is we don't have authority to say, yes, you can take that risk, because they take the risk and something happens, they can come back and say, well, Planning Commission said we could submit our CDs at risk. And something comes up where it could cause a huge wrench once they get into first plan review where, something isn't a code or they got to change something. So that's has always been my opinion on CDs at risk, and it's up to them if they want to do it or not.
Chairman, Commissioner Anderson, I appreciate all your thoughts. But yes, tonight we were just asking for Shops B. And we know that the rest of the master site plan, which we are showing you some of the details now, but yes, we know that the rest of the master site plan could be tweaked and it'll change. We know that that's a possibility. But the applicant wants to know whether or not you feel comfortable with Shops B moving forward, because that's the only site that they're going to submit CDs for. The rest of it will come in the future. We don't know when.
Commissioner Davis, did you have more input?
I have a
Please.
question. Because you say there's a possibility it could be tweaked. I think that's where the discomfort lies, in that, like, I don't have an issue with Shops B at risk. What I have an issue with is if we approve CDs at risk for Shops B, are we then saying that this master site plan can go forward and may or may not be tweaked to address our concerns? I think what I want to know is, can we see the master site plan again if we say okay to Shops B, or because some of the buildings are under 5,000 square feet, we don't see it again? And that, I think, is where we're concerned.
I understand what you're saying. Chairman, Commissioner Davis, I understand what you're saying. We will be bringing the master site plan back before you again, especially when the larger pad comes in. Shop C down at that far corner, you'll get to see the whole design all over again. And staff will evaluate each and every pad as they come in. But if you are suggesting and wanting the applicant to consider changes on that corner and the pad at Shop C, then we can definitely make that recommendation to the applicant that they change that up. And then maybe we bring it back before you in a month, and they've taken all of your concerns and they've addressed them. So obviously this is not done. We're still in the review process. This is not finalized.
Okay, I appreciate that. So, I mean, I think I'm okay with CDs at risk for Shops B is with that information that we will get to see the rest of the site plan again, and that they'll take, some of what they heard today, hopefully into consideration. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anything else to add? All right. I would agree. I think that, the Shops B is fine, but note the concerns about the site plan as it is. So make sure, since we'll see it, I think we're okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Keith. Okay. Moving on to item number 4, LDC text amendment, subdivision requirements. And we get to hear from Mr. Tom Condit. Take it away.
There we go. Okay. Chair Munt and Commissioners, I'm Tom Condit, Development Engineering Manager, and I'm glad to present this text amendment to you this evening. It's basically an update to our LDC. It's going to clarify the requirements for streets in all subdivisions and eliminate some confusion about whether a private street can be contained in an easement. Really exciting stuff. Do you want to move on? So basically, the presentation tonight, we want to conduct a citizen review meeting and to discuss this proposed land development code text amendment and initiate that text amendment to the LDC Chapter 3 subdivisions and subdivision regulations, certificate of plat correction, and Section 1.2.11 improvements. So the LDC defines a street as a public or private thoroughfare used to provide access to public or private property. Our engineering standards already require that any private street only be allowed in a dedicated tract owned and maintained by an association. The authority to require streets is found in the LDC Section 1.211, and it requires all minor land division and minor subdivisions to install public and private improvements pursuant to the improvement plans. But the LDC is silent on requiring that every lot shall have frontage on a right-of-way or private street. A couple of other things that I don't think are included in here but will be included in this text amendment is broadening the LDC authority for certificate of plat corrections to include setback changes. Right now, what's happened in the past, we used to allow, and this was many years ago, we used to allow setbacks to be shown on the final plat. When a zoning ordinance came in that changed that requirement, there was always a confusion. Well, the plat says this, but the actual ordinance says something else. So this will allow us to change that via a certificate of plat correction and avoid this type of problem. And again, this is mostly for some of the older subdivisions. And then finally, there's a few typos that are going to be corrected with this LDC amendment. So again, I think I've already gone over this. Sorry about that. I guess I jumped ahead. But these are the revisions, the street update and the private street certificate of correction and typos. So it's pretty simple. Do y'all have any questions?
Anybody? No, go ahead, Tom. I thought you were asking for questions and then going to carry on. But, okay, nobody has any questions? Major text amendment? Do we need to vote on this, Elena?
Actually, it would be to direct the planning manager to start on the amendment for the LDC text amendment.
Well, without any other comments, I will direct planning manager to move ahead with these text amendments.
Great.
All right, thank you, Tom.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Let's see, now we have a little discussion of the regular meeting agenda. So if we take a look at that, we have On consent, S2402 Bellastoria, parcel A. Number 10 is UP 2443, signature at Santan fence modification, which that one we will be moving to the regular agenda for another continuance. We have number 11, the Staybridge Suites, DR 24-64. And then on the non-consent, we have Lumberyard, DR 24-37, and DR 23-170 Cobblestone Auto Spa. Does anyone have anything either that they think should be moved from consent or one that would move to consent?
Unless somebody wants to hear it, I'd say I'd be in favor of moving 13, the Cobblestone Express Auto Spa to consent, unless there's something that would keep that off.
Anyone? The staff have any issues, or was there ever anyone? Is anyone here to speak on item number 13? Okay, so that's a possibility. We'll open up again in the meeting and see. But I think number 12 should be heard then, the consensus. All right, very good. Well, with that, I will adjourn the study session here, and we'll be back in 15 minutes for the regular meeting. Thank you. Okay, it's 6 o'clock. If everybody could get prepared. I will call this meeting to order, and the first order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. Please join me. Thank you. Could I get a roll call, please?
Commission Member Lyon. Commission Member DeGravina.
Here.
Commissioner Simon.
Present?
Commissioner Gage. Commissioner Fay. Commissioner Davis.
Here.
Commissioner Anderson.
Yeah.
Chairman Munt.
Here. All right, we have a quorum. Thank you. Okay, let's move on to number 6, is the approval of the agenda. We had a discussion during the study session. As it stands, currently there are 3 items on the consent, 9, 10, and 11. Number 10 is going to be moved off. And then there was discussion that number 13 could be added. Just one more time in the gallery, is there anyone here wishing to speak on number 13? Okay. So then it looks like we can do 9, 11, 13 on consent, and then 10 and 12 on non-consent, if anyone would like to make a motion.
Chair will make a motion to approve the agenda with items 9, 11, and 13 on the consent, and items 10 and 12 on the non-consent.
Thank you, Commissioner Simon. We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Commissioner DeGravina with a second. Please cast your vote when prompted. Not yet. Okay, go ahead. Motion passes 6-0. Okay, now we'll move to number 7, is the communications from citizens. At this time, members of the public may comment on matters within the jurisdiction of the town. The commission may not discuss items that are not specifically identified on the agenda. Therefore, pursuant to state law, action taken as a result of public comment will be limited to directing staff to study the matter, responding to any criticism, or scheduling the matter for further consideration. At the time, I do not have any comment cards from anyone wishing to have communications from citizens. Is there anyone in the crowd that would like to speak during this time? These are for things not on the agenda. Okay. Moving on then. Number 8 will be the report from the council liaison on current events, and that is Councilmember Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have anything to report tonight.
Very well. Thank you, sir. Okay, on to the consent, the public hearing consent. All items listed below are considered the public hearing consent calendar. The commission may, by a single motion, approve any number of items where, after opening the public hearing, no person requests the item be removed from the consent calendar. If such a request is made, the commission shall withdraw the item from the public hearing consent calendar for the purpose of public discussion and separate action. Other items on the agenda may be added to the consent calendar and approved under a single motion. Currently, the consent calendar is item number 9, S24-02, Bella Storia Parcel A, item number 11, DR 24-64, Staybridge Suites, and item number 13, DR 23-170, Cobblestone Express Auto Spa. Do I have a motion on the consent calendar?
Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar as written, or as read, excuse me.
Thank you, sir. All right, Commissioner Simon with the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Commissioner DeGravina with the second. Please cast your vote when prompted. All votes are in. Motion carries 6-0. Moving on to the public hearing, non-consent. Non-consent public hearing items will be heard at an individual public hearing and will be acted upon by the commission by a separate motion. During the public hearings, anyone wishing to comment in support or in opposition to a public hearing item may do so. If you wish to comment on a public hearing item, you must fill out a public comment form indicating the item number on which you wish to be heard. Those comment forms are in the back, the yellow slips of paper. Once the hearing is closed, there will be no further public comment unless requested by a member of the commission. So with that, I do have some comment cards, but if anyone else did want to speak, please fill out a yellow comment card and bring it up to one of the staff. We will move on now to item number 10, UP 24-43, the signature at Santan Village fence modification. We will forego any formal presentation on this as we are going to be doing a continuance. And was there a specific date on that continuance, Keith?
Chairman Munt, members of the commission, yes, we will ask you to continue that to the November 6th Planning Commission agenda.
Thank you, Keith.
Thank you.
Keith, can we ask why it's being continued at this point?
Yeah, Chairman, Commissioner Simon, the signature at Santan developer, as you know, they're requesting to have no fence along the northern property boundary. And the LDC specifically states that the Fincher Farms development to the north has to agree to their proposal to an alternative landscape buffer yard, which would be no fence. And they have not come to an agreement yet with the Fincher Farms development on whether or not they believe if having no fence is appropriate. They're still working through that. They also want to make some landscaping changes, tree changes, things like that. So they're still working through that, and they have not come to an agreement yet. So that's why we're asking for the continuance to November 6th.
All right, thank you, Keith.
Quick question, Mr. Chair. Are any of those requests to speak related to this item?
Related to what? The item?
Related to this item?
Well, they wrote item number 10. So yes,
And since we've opened it up for, since it's on the non-consent, I would just request that they be allowed to speak in that case.
oh yeah, no, I was
Okay,
going to.
okay.
Yeah, oh no, I was, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was
Sorry
just
about
letting
that.
Jan
Thank
air
you,
his
Mr.
grievances.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
My pleasure. Okay, thank you, Keith. All right, and then we will move into the public comment. And I have two people who wish to speak. We'll start with Cassie Conti. She is opposed to the item and wishes to speak. If you please come up to the podium here.
Chair Munt, I actually spoke to Cassie in the hallway, in the lobby just now, and she left already. She's on the HOA board for Fincher
Right.
Farms.
I figured, I
And
knew
she already
that
left.
she had talked the last time. Is that, okay. And then is Miss Kathleen DuBois here, or did she leave as well?
Chairman, I believe she was the other lady I was talking to, and they were both on the board, and they both, I saw them exit the building.
Okay. All right.
Just
very
wanted
good.
to let you know
No,
that.
thank you, Keith.
You're welcome.
So we do have two individuals that were going to comment in opposition to the item, but what it appears is that given that it's being continued, that they do not wish to speak. But we'll enter these into the record as it is. So with that being said, we will entertain a motion on item number 10 for a continuance to November 6th.
Chairman, I'll move to continue UP 2443, signature at Santan Village fence modification to November 6, 2024.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. We have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Simon coming through with the second. All right. Any discussion? If not, please cast your vote. Motion passes 6-0 unanimously for us to hear that November 6th. Moving on now to the final item on the agenda is item number 13, DR23-1, nope, DR2, number 12, DR24-37, the lumber yard. And Kristen, please come up.
Right, good evening, Commission. The case I have for you tonight is DR 2437 for the Lumberyard Design Review. The site is located west of the Heritage District, northeast of Neely and Cullimber, and is bordered by industrial, multifamily, and public facility and institution zoning. The site is approximately 9.5 acres and is zoned multifamily high. The applicant is proposing to develop a 285-unit complex with the units split between 3 buildings. The units offered will include studio, 1-bedroom, and 2-bedroom options. One building will face Neely Street and will be 3 stories tall. Another building will be placed at the rear of the site, adjacent to the district lofts community, and will be 4 stories tall. The final and largest building will be placed central to the site and will also be 4 stories tall. This building will surround a pool and amenity areas, including a fitness and amenity lawn with yard games, outdoor kitchen and fire pits. Additional amenities include a dog park, naturescape seating area, indoor fitness area, mini market, coffee and beverage bar, and business center. The applicant is proposing 444 parking spaces, which is the exact number required for this site. There will be 72 garage spaces, 243 covered parking spaces, and 129 uncovered parking spaces. The development is accessed from Neely, and parking will be located throughout the site, with garages and carports being located along the northern and southern property lines, providing an additional buffer from the adjacent industrial uses to the south. Secondary emergency access for this site will be located at the northeast corner of the site. The open space requirement for multifamily high is 40%, but a planned area development was approved in May, allowing for an open space reduction, now requiring 35%. The applicant is currently proposing 35.3% of open space, and the landscaping will include a buffer of trees along the perimeter of the site. The types of trees on site include, but are not limited to, ghost gum, fruitless olive, palo verde, evergreen elm, and southern live oak. Also found on the site are a variety of shrubs and ground cover, such as bluebells, Mexican honeysuckle, orange jubilee, pink oleander, lantana, deergrass, and red and blue yucca. All right, the buildings are designed in a modern aesthetic with materials that are complementary to the adjacent Heritage District. Seen here are the elevations for Building A. The top picture faces Neely Street, and the bottom is the east elevation facing internal to the site. The right shows what the ends of the building will look like on the north and south. The building is 3 stories tall with a brick base in varied gray coloring and wood-like fiber cement paneling as an accent material. The brick ranges in height on the building from 1 to 2 stories, but encompasses the entirety of the central tower-like feature, creating a focal point to the building. The tower feature does help to break up the roof line, which resolves a concern that we had when this was seen during the study session. The top of the building is a light-colored stucco and also includes metal canopies placed above the top floor balconies, which satisfies our concerns from study session of the balconies not being covered. Right, as you move further into the site, the use of brick and vertical fiber cement paneling is still present, addressing the concerns of material continuity that were expressed during the study session. Brick on this building is largely located on the bottom floor, but is seen as high as the 3rd floor on the northwest corner of the building, which is where the lobby is located. Also seen on this corner is a presence of 2-story glass paneling, drawing attention to the lobby entrance. The top floors of the building utilize a combination of wood-like paneling and various colors of stucco, accentuating the portions of the building that pop out. This pop-out also assists with creating a more recessed look for the balconies, causing them to appear more integrated into the design of the building, which was also one of our concerns from study session, that they just looked like an afterthought. This slide shows Building B, the largest building central to the site. The top image is the south elevation facing existing industrial users, and the bottom building is the north elevation facing the amenity area for the complex, as well as the future 10-acre retention basin to the north. Right, these images here just show a closer look at the northwestern section of the building. The top picture shows the west side of that south elevation, and the bottom shows the west side of the north elevation. Right, and then this slide here shows the east and west elevations, as well as the north elevation that faces the pool and amenity area. You can see here that the north elevation is primarily stucco in various shades with a brick base. The east and west elevations include a larger use of brick and again incorporate the wood fiber cement paneling. Right, Building C is the rearmost building adjacent to the district office community. The building design has been improved significantly from the version seen in the study session, and the wall planes now vary in depth. Brick has now been incorporated into the design and is found on the ground floor. The top 3 stories are stucco in various shades, but also include that wood-like fiber cement paneling as an accent material that reaches to the top floor of the building at certain points. All right, and then here are the end caps to Building C, which have incorporated a large use of the fiber cement paneling in addition to the brick base. You can also see an image of the proposed garages found on the north and south sides of the property. The garages now also include wall-mounted lighting periodically. And I've also included an image of the proposed monument sign for the community. All right, and then here is just a 3D rendering of the northwest corner of Building B where the lobby is located. All right, and then here is just a close-up of the colors and materials that are proposed. Again, it includes a mix of stucco and brick in varying shades of grays and whites, as well as that wood-like fiber cement paneling. All right, and then next are just a couple of slides of the floor plans. This is going to show Building A. The first floor is on the left, and the second and third floor is on the right. You can see the entry points on the east side. And then seen here is the first floor plan for Building B. You can see the amenity areas in the northwest portion of the building. They include a fitness center, mailroom, club room, and lobby. All right, and then this is just the floor plan for the upper levels of Building B, with the second floor being shown on the top and floors 3 and 4 shown on the bottom. Right, and this last floor plan slide is going to show Building C. First floor is on the left, and second through fourth floors is on the right. The entry points are seen on the west elevation. All right, and lastly, I just have a few snips of the proposed bedroom options. 20% of the units are going to be studios, 31% will be 2 bedrooms, and the remainder will be a mix of corner and standard 1-bedroom units. And with that, we recommend approval of DR 2437, the Lumberyard. I am available for questions if you have them.
All right, thank you, Kristen. Would anybody have any questions for Kristen? Commissioner Anderson.
Thank you for the presentation. If I remember correctly, when this came for us on study session, wasn't there a couple of issues regarding the site in terms of fire access? And then wasn't there something else that had to do with Neely Street? It looks like on the site plan, they addressed the fire access, but how exactly does that work? Does it show the continuation of where it's connecting to? And then if you're, I think I'm correct about that there was some sort of access issue on Neely Street. Did that get resolved? If so, how did that?
Sure. So Chair Munt, Commissioner Anderson, I don't have the full image. I apologize. I should have included that in the presentation. But the secondary access, that was the issue you're speaking to. From the Lumberyard site, you can see that it's exiting on the northwest corner of the site. We'll have some sort of a cross-access agreement for them to access through the town-owned property, future town-owned property to the north. And then they'll go around the district lofts community using Phoenix Avenue and exit out towards Ash Street.
So is that along the railroad track?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And fire is cool with that?
Yes.
Okay.
And we're in the process of finalizing that agreement. But it's intended, one of the conditions in the staff report is that that needs to be established prior to final plat. And it is only for secondary emergency access.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Anderson. Anyone else? Nope. All right. Thank you, Kristen. I know if the applicant is here, do you know if they want to speak at all?
They have a couple of slides, but only if necessary.
Does anybody have an interest in seeing any additional slides? Commissioner Simon appears to be nodding.
If it's Adam Baugh, yeah, I think we should see those slides.
Yeah, sounds like we need to see those slides. If you could please tell the applicant to approach the bench. We can't have a man dress up that nice and not speak, you know.
I'm just glad I'm wearing pants today.
Wait, can we have you stand at that podium over there?
You're cruel. I can give you a presentation. This is Adam Baugh, 25 East Arizona, Biltmore Circle. I can give you a presentation, but I feel like this just might be a public mockery, so I will be extremely fast. And let me just point out this. So what's the trick to just, there we go. Here we go. I think this is probably best answers your question right there, Commissioner Anderson. This helps illustrate the location of that fire access. And so we've been able to resolve and address those issues going forward. So One of the things that's been helpful for us is the coaching we've had from staff related to things like canopies, fire access movements, the turnaround radiuses as you come in, staging areas for fire apparatus. And at the end of the day, I think the ability to get the building in a shape that staff can be comfortable, recommend approval. It took us a couple of rounds on the design to get to that spot, but I think we're in a place where we can have staff support going forward. So you've got a busy agenda. I'd love to sit down whenever you're ready.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bott. Does anyone have any questions or comments they would like directed at the applicant? All right, not seeing any. There's no public comment from this. Is there anyone out in the crowd that is wishing to speak on this item? Yes, sir. If you would please fill out a comment card, the yellow card's in the back, and then bring it up to the staff. And actually, if you want to come speak and just state your name and then fill one out afterwards to give it for the record.
My name is Keith Crandall, and I own that yard right on the corner of Cullenberg and Neely. My concern is that area on Cullenberg is industrial. And we have a lot of contractors using that yard. And it's very noisy. And the contractors start very early in the mornings, and sometimes they're going late in the afternoon or late in the evenings. And during the winter, they have lights starting like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. Is there any, does that bother anybody? Is developers planning on that, or are they going to put in some big landscaping to cover that up? What do we do? That's my question.
And sir, just for the record, were you in favor or opposed to the item, or were you just seeking to proffer a question?
I think the whole project stinks. I mean, why would you put apartments next to an industrial area? I mean, that's like putting apartments next to a dairy. Why would you do that? Unless you mitigate the problems, that's my thought.
Understood. All right, thank you, sir. And Kristen has a yellow card to your left there. If you could just fill that out and then let us have that for the record. Okay, and if there's no other public comment, then I will then bring it here to ask if anyone wanted to address any more questions to either Kristen or the applicant. Okay, not seeing any, then I will close the public comment and bring it up here for discussion and/or a motion. Does anyone have any discussion? Commissioner Anderson?
If there is no discussion, I think Adam's kind of in a hurry to get out of here, so I'm okay with putting a motion in if there is no discussion.
No, not seeing one. Please feel free, Commissioner Anderson.
You good?
Well, I just wanted to state for the gentleman that spoke that this land use is already approved in this location, and that was a consideration that the board made. So those people moving in there will have to understand that industrial is already there, and it's something they're gonna have to live with in that apartment, with apartments. So, but because the land use is already there and we're talking about the design today,
Right.
that's what we'll be deciding upon.
No, and that's a very good indication. Thank you, Commissioner Davis, that, right now we're talking about design, the actual use is already in place, so. Okay, with that then, Commissioner Anderson,
I'll motion to approve DR 24-37, Lumberyard.
we have a motion from Commissioner Anderson for approval. Do I have a second?
I will second that.
We have a second from Commissioner Davis. Any discussion? Not seeing any, please cast your vote when ready. All right, motion carries 6-0. That moves into the next form of the meeting, the administrative items. Administrative items are for the commission discussion and action. It is to the discretion of the majority of the commission regarding public input requests on any administrative item. Persons wishing to speak on an administrative item should complete a public comment form indicating the item number on which you wish to speak to address. The commission may or may not accept public comment. The first item here we have is consider the approval of the minutes of the study session and regular meeting from last month, September 4th, 2024. Did anyone in their review of that have any amendments that they would like or to make a motion to approve?
Chair, I'll make a motion to approve as written.
All right, Commissioner Simon makes the approval motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Oh, we had Commissioner Anderson was the first. So we have a second. Please cast your vote. I think. There we go. Okay. Motion carries 6-0. The minutes will stand. On to the communications, executive session we do not have. Let's do a report from the chairman and members of the commission on current events. Who's got some? We have, oh, yeah, go ahead, Commissioner Anderson.
This is a question for staff. So that last case brought up a question for me in the downtown area. Is there anything going on with what's this story with that dirt lot where that nice, awesome development that's supposed to be happening? Any movement on that?
Chairman and Commissioner, that application is currently in review for their construction drawings. Last time we checked in with the developer, they were hoping to break ground by the end of the year.
Very nice. Anything else? Well, I think that as a current event, we should point out that we'd like to welcome our new commissioner, Ms. Jenna Lyon, to the gang here. It's very good to have you. And, you know, if there's anything you'd like to share, I know you've been kind of quiet this evening. I want to give you the opportunity.
Yeah, I just want to thank you guys for this opportunity, and I'm really excited to be part of the commission, so thank you.
Awesome.
Don't we have a tradition where the new people have to like do some sort of like talent that they have?
There is that, but we can save that for next month so that now she's aware of that. Yeah. No, well, it's great to have you, and we look forward to working with you here on the commission. So with that, then, we can move over to the report from the Planning Services Manager on current events. Ashley, do you have anything you'd like to add?
I don't have any big updates, but I will just echo your congratulations to Jenna for being appointed to our commission. Also, congratulations to our returning members for your reappointments, and thank you all commission members for your service to the town in this capacity. It's a lot of work to come to these meetings every month and then prepare for them in advance, so thank you.
Thank you. And I'll just note that nobody congratulated me on getting called the chair again, so it's no big deal.
Chair,
Whatever.
I'd like to congratulate the chair
Thank
on
you.
being the chair.
You're too kind, sir.
Because
You're
he's-
too kind.
Because you're a great chair.
Well, I knew that. Okay, thank you. Thank you,
Just a
guys.
continuance.
Yeah, now I'm blushing. Okay. All right, well, with that then, let's adjourn the meeting. Thank you all, and we'll see you next month when hopefully it's not 120 degrees.